Welcome back, YouTube. This is Evil Squeegee. I am here today to play more Solo Dungeon World on twitch.tv/Evil Squeegee, recorded live in front of a live studio chat. That's a thing, right? Live studio chat. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the show. Feel free to leave a comment, give me some feedback, give me some ideas, drink some coffee, because I need energy. Today, we are switching from MUNE to Mythic Game Master Emulator 2nd Edition. So expect some of the dice rolls to be a little different. I'm not using the yes, no, no and yes, but. Instead, I'm using a system that generates yes, no, extreme yes, and extreme no based on a D percentile roll. The chart that I don't have the available to put on screen. Well, I mean, technically I do. Does it show up? Does it show up if I go here? Oh, part of it shows up. But let's get into the gritty of what's going on. On our last adventure, we woke up in Deathlong Mountains in a dungeon cell and escaped and found out that there was a cult infecting the town of North Pass, which is caught in a perpetual storm. The cult was led by the mayor of North Pass. The mayor escaped us after we captured him, and we stopped the cult from being able to bring reinforcements into town, and we finished that adventure. And so we are beginning the next adventure. Which is to head to the bigger town, the biggest town in the area, which we're going to place on our map here. I want to know what zone is it in the Fell Swamp or the Forest of Sorrow? I don't think the town is in the Desert of Victory. I could be wrong. It could be a port town up here. I want it to be a little further away from North Pass. I want it to be like a week's travel. So that means that we're gonna put it in the Swamp Fell or the Forest of Sorrow here. So let's call it Evens Swamp Forest. Evens Swamp Forest? Evens the Swamp Fell and Forest of Sorrow is odds. It is in the Forest of Sorrow, so we're gonna put it. Let's put it. Let's put our town right here. What is the name of our town going to be? We go to fantasynamegenerators.com and we search for town name generator. Town names. Pernrith. So Pernrith is going to be the town that the cult has a presence in, where the real big leader of the cult is. And today our adventure is going to compose mostly of traveling from North Pass to Pernrith. And this is where Perilous Wilds, which I need to open up, because Perilous Wilds does a lot of overland stuff. Another thing we're going to do as soon as we start the show here is I think we're going to convert Christina into a player character so that she will use unnatural dice just like I do. And you won't be able to target her with unnatural dice because there's only one pile of unnatural dice. It's just that both Christina and Octavia will draw from that pile. And I think that's just about all the announcements and bookkeeping. So let's convert before we begin. Let's convert. No, let's not drag this out any further here. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's get this party started. Okay, so we've made Christina into a fighter. She has an ancient sword that is with serrated edges, that is armor piercing. Once per battle, she can reroll any damage die. She is neutral, which means she gains XP whenever you defeat a worthy opponent. She has bend bars, lift gates, which is what happens when you apply your strength to an inanimate obstacle. And that is that. I think that's all of that. We've leveled up Octavia. Octavia picked up charge. When you lead the combat, you take those you lead take +1 forward. So, we're gonna go to the map screen here. We are at North Pass right here, and we need to get to Pernrith, which is all the way over here. That is a journey that take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So we're gonna need at least 8 days of rations. How many days of rations do we have in the wagon? We don't have any rations in the wagon, so we're going to buy some rations. How many days of dungeon rations? They're 3 coins for 5 uses. You want to pack a little extra. We're packing for 2 people, so that's 16 minimum. We'll buy 20 days of rations. That's 4 times 3 is 12 coins. 20 days of rations. I'm no longer on my quest to protect the people of North Pass. I've completed that quest, so I need to eat rations again. And that cost me 12 coins, leaving me with 1,302 coins. Wagon, adventuring gear, 5 adventuring gear uses is going to be 20 coins, leaving me with 1288, 1290, because I had 2 coins left over. And that's prepping for the journey done. Right now, we are going to get this journey underway. We're going to try and move through the mountains, heading south. Our planned trajectory to go here and then take a turn east and kind of go along the border. We're gonna cut through the Forest of Sorrow. We're gonna discover why it's called the Forest of Sorrow as we go along, I imagine. Gonna cut through the Forest of Sorrow and move to Pernrith. Pernrith. I will never get the name of this town right. Why did I pick this name? This is a terrible name for me. The first thing that happens is we determine who's going to scout and who's going to... We are going to scout ahead with Christina being our scout because she has +1 wisdom. So unnatural dice, what do you get? A strong hit from Steph Infection. A strong hit from Steph Infection gives us... traveling from place to place, travel time, mountain moves, travel and exploration moves. Here we go. Scout ahead on a 10+, choose 2 from the list below. You get to drop on whatever lies ahead, and you discern a beneficial aspect of the terrain, such as a shortcut, a shelter, or tactical advantage. Describe it. We discover a shortcut, and I need to describe what that shortcut is. Shortcut will take us let's zoom in on this map here. From L20 to M21. We find a tunnel that kind of digs through the mountainside that takes us less time and less effort to travel through than a normal trip through the mountains would take. Once we've done our scouting ahead with our strong hit from Steph Infection, we are now going to navigate and get a miss from Tice. On navigate on a 6- mark XP, and the GM makes a move. That XP goes to me as Octavia. 1 out of 10 experience points to level. What move does the GM make? Show signs of an approaching threat. You remember earlier in the episodes, in earlier episodes, there was that fog that followed us? I think that fog is back, and I think that fog is following us as we travel through the tunnel and we reach the base of the mountains. And that night we strike camp. When you settle into rest, choose 1 member of the party to manage provisions. That manage provisions is going to be a wisdom roll, so we're going to nominate Christina to do that. We roll with advantage from Coughsbro. Advantage from Coughsbro means we roll twice and take the better option. This is Christina, so this is +1. Wow. On a 6- mark XP for Christina. Christina, you are now 1 out of 8 experience points. And the GM makes a move. What move does the GM make? Reveal an unwelcome truth. That fog is rolling in over the campfire, and it is starting to seep into our equipment, and it is starting to seep into the campfire. The campsite is now kind of like drenched and damp in this fog, and it stinks and it rots. And we're not going to be able to get any good rest with this fog here. That's the unwelcome truth that's the unwelcome truth that we're revealing. And it's following us, and we can't escape it. All right, so we've managed provisions. We're making camp. Roll plus nothing. This is not an action, so we are in fact rolling plus nothing. On a 10 plus, the night passes without incident, and we are that much closer to Penrith. And so the cycle begins again with unnatural dice as we reach, our goal is to reach Hex N22 in the middle of the deep forest. And this will be crossing the border from Death's Long Mountains into the Forest of Sorrow. A strong hit from Dio on the scout. A strong hit from Dio, so we're picking 2 from the scouting list. We're going to get the drop on whatever lies ahead, and we are going to make a discovery. That's what I want to do. I want to discover something. So the scout, what does the scout discover? Let's find out. Ask the fates. Discoveries. Discovery. Table discovery. We're going to roll a d12. Discovery, a 9 is a structure. That's good. Who built it? Is it connected to anything else they made nearby? What kind of structure is it? Let's roll more d12s, because I like d12s. I should play Dominion. I got a 6. A 6 is a burial/religious. What kind of burial/religious? A 10? 10 or 11 is a temple or a retreat. What was I doing? Alignment. What kind of temple is it? 12. Alignment is lawful. And aspect is 5 for nature or wisdom. I think we found like temple. It's a lawful temple to nature. I think we find like a druid grove. So as Christina is scouting ahead, she comes across this this copse of trees in the forest where I'm going to mark this down, actually, before we go any further. In the Forest of Sorrow. So I feel like we haven't actually gotten there yet. So, Christina's scouting ahead. She sees this copse of trees with these druids kind of going back and forth and making their praying, and they're doing their rites to nature, and they're tending to a garden. So now we navigate. Unnatural dice. Why do you do this to me? Disadvantage from Tice. Disadvantage from Tice, we roll twice and take the better result. This is intellect, which is a +0. Yeah, a +0. Marking XP. Travel and exploration moves on navigate. Navigate on a 6- mark XP, and the GM makes a move, so that's XP 3 out of 10. And the GM makes a move. Give an opportunity that fits a class's abilities. I am a paladin of Rhinos and a god of freedom and freedom from tyranny and freedom from capture and so on and so forth. And I am going to say that an opportunity befitting of my class's abilities. Paladins are high charisma, so I navigate to this druid haven just fine. And there is an opportunity. There's an opportunity for me to impress these druids and perhaps rest here for the evening. But in order to do that, I need to not offend the druids, because I myself am an outsider. So I'm going to say that's a defy danger based on charisma, and I'm going to pull unnatural dice for that. Advantage from Coughsbro. Advantage from Coughsbro means I roll twice and take the better roll. This is at +2. A 9 or a 10. 10, I get a 12 total. So I mingle with these druids, and Christina and Maud let me do the talking. As I don't proselytize, but I admire their freedom and their living away from civilization here, and instead of living by the law of man, they live by the law of the land, and there's a freedom in that I can respect, and so we connect on that front. And the druids let me rest here for the night. I'm going to take +1 forward to my make camp roll as a result. That night we're going to make camp. We are going to, the druids will feed us, so we're not going to consume rations. We're not going to roll to manage rations. We are going to roll that night to see if the night passes without incident. Unnatural dice. Advantage from Coughsbro. Advantage from Coughsbro. I take +1 forward to this. That is a 10 plus. The night passes without incident, which is not surprising given that we're staying at a druid grove. So that day, the day that follows, We send Christina out scouting from the Druid Haven. Again, since we're operating from the Druid Haven, the Druids are giving us information about the lay of the land. They tell us a story about the Forest of Sorrow. What story do they tell? This is where we're going to go to Mythic GM Emulator, and we're going to go to one of their D100 tables. There are a lot of D100 tables here. We are specifically looking for the elements tables. So there are 45 tables here to roll on, and we are going to pick one. Adventure tone, alien species descriptions, animal actions, army descriptors, cavern descriptors, characters. No, we're looking at, there's one in specific I'm looking for. Character background. Technically, the Forest of Sorrow is a character, so we're going to roll twice and get 2 words from this table and use that as our inspiration for the backstory of the Forest of Sorrow from these druids' perspective. It is a 76 and a 50. A 76 is going to be privilege, and a 50 was my other one. A 50 is going to be guided. Privilege guided. Guided privilege. The Forest of Sorrow. When this continent was being explored, the explorer was being guided by a druid of the Grove, and the druid of the Grove got lost and got both the explorer and the druid cursed to be forever sorrowful by the spirits of the forest. So there is a spirit of the forest that has cursed the Forest of Sorrow to be the Forest of Sorrow, and that anybody who angers that spirit is going to suffer the curse of the forest. Okay, so that's what we get from the druids that night as they explain the backstory of the forest to us. And now we send Christina out to scout and get a natural roll from Gremory, which means that we're just rolling once and adding 1. That's not good. 8, 9. We get a 9, and that means on Perilous Wilds, I think we choose 1 from the... Yeah, on a 7-9, choose 1 from this below. You get the drop on whatever lies ahead. Now I'm navigating with a weak hit from Martkos. On navigation, weak hit, the GM chooses 1 from the list below. You happen upon a discovery missed by the scout, the going is slow, or you wander off course, the GM says which, or you encounter a danger. Whether or not you're surprised depends on whether the scout has the drop on it. So we're going to roll 1d3 and get 1. You happen upon a discovery missed by the scout. Tables discovery. To the discovery tables. To the table! That's what happened when you take a chair and a table and you smash them together.
No more fusion.
Fusion! Ha! 5. Evidence. What kind of evidence do we find? 9. Remains or debris. That is also a 9. Site of violence. Age and visibility. Age. Details age. And I got a 5. Middle age. So it's a middle-aged site of violence. Visibility. Maybe visibility will give me more to go on. 7. Obvious or in plain sight. So as we navigate to the next hex on the map here, we are moving along and we find a place where some bandits struck a caravan. No, I've used the bandit striking the caravan again. So let's go back to Mythic GM Emulator and find out site of violence. Well, I don't actually know what caused the violence, so I don't have to come up with that information. I just need to show the signs of violence. And so we find a corpse of an adventurer or an explorer who's been run through with a sword, and Christina immediately loots the body. And do we find anything worthy of looting on the body? I'm going to say it's unlikely. So here's where the Mythic GM Emulator happens. Whenever we ask a yes or no question, instead of just rolling a d6 like we were doing before and getting a yes and or a no but or whatever, we show up here. This is okay, so let's say you can barely see down at the bottom. Oop, it's over here. You can barely see down at the bottom where the chaos factor. Our chaos factor is currently 5, and that will go up or down based on how in control we were in the scene. And our scene here is our travel towards Pernrith. And there are, you can see there's a 10, a big 50, and a 91. If I roll 10 or less, that's an extreme no. An extreme yes. If I roll a 50 or less, that's that's just a yes. If I roll a 90, if I roll over a 50, it's a no. And if I roll a 91 or higher, it's an extreme no. So I called it very unlikely on Chaos Factor 5. So I'm going to roll. It's a very unlikely, so we're going to throw our D100 out and get a 19. I think very unlikely 19 on Chaos Factor 5 is it's not an extreme yes, but it is a yes. So we do find something worth looting on the body. What do we find on the body? Let's roll 1d4. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine what the damage die of this adventurer would have been. A d4 will be d4, 2 is d6, 3 is d8, 4 is d10. A 3 is a d8. Perilous Wilds. What treasure do we loot from this body? An 8. An 8, a small item of great value. So whoever killed this person left a sack of coins. 2d6 times 100 coins. 300 coins they left behind. We're going to take those 300 coins and we're just going to put them on the wagon, I think. So whoever killed this adventurer was not a bandit, was not a thief, did not want the adventurer's belongings. They just killed the adventurer. Maybe there was some sort of dispute. Maybe there was some sort of argument. It might have been an angered druid. We don't know. But so Christina walks up and pats down the body and finds the sack of coins and tosses it over to Octavia. And Octavia hands it to Maud. And Maud will put it on the wagon. And then we continue our journey for a little bit, and then we make camp. And making camp means the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have Christina manage our rations with a strong hit from Dio. We're just going to say that it doesn't consume rations because careful management. That sounds like Christina's a practical woman. She'd be on top of managing rations, so we just won't spend any rations from our pool of points. And that night we're making camp on an 8 for making camp. The GM chooses one from those below. 1, 2, 3, 4 options. We're going to roll because we're emulating a GM. 3. 1, 2, 3. One or more followers causes trouble. What kind of trouble could Maud create? Let's go over to Mythic GM Emulator and ask a non-yes or no question. Tables, actions. We're going to throw 1d100 twice and get 60 and 96. 60 lure and 96 is vulnerability. Lure, vulnerability. Maud. What do we know of Maud? He's the spy. He's an infiltrator. He's going to lure, vulnerability. He's causing trouble. I think that he puts up a fuss because we're camping next. Are we near a river? No, we're not near a river. We're on the border of the swamp. Oh, I know. We don't want a big fire because we don't want to attract any animals or any bandits, because we just found that corpse. We don't want to attract any animals or killers. Maud starts a fire and we have to no, stop. And so we stop Maud from starting a fire, and there's a bit of an argument back and forth. Maud wants to be warm. Maud wants to cook food. We want to not attract the killers. And so eventually Maud will calm down and understand that we're not lighting a fire for a reason here. And then the next day we pull a natural dice as Christina goes to scout. A natural roll from Gremory. This is +1. 6 + 1 is 7. We're going to get the drop on whatever lies ahead. Unnatural dice. Disadvantage from Tice. This is for navigating. 2d6. This is at +0. Disadvantage, I get a 5. I mark XP and the GM makes a move. The GM's move is going to be that thunderclouds start to roll overhead, and Maud will kind of look up and roll their eyes. They come from North Pass, where the storm is perpetual, and now it's just storming elsewhere, and they were looking forward to experiencing good weather for once, but no. No, Maud does not like it when it storms because it reminds them of home, and they do not appreciate that. And I mark XP. I am now at 4 of 10 XP, and we make it another hex. That night we manage provisions with a miss from Dio. What happens on a miss from Dio in Perilous Wilds when we manage provisions? Mark XP and the GM makes a move. So managing provisions, this XP goes to Christina. Managing provisions, GM's move. Show signs of an approaching threat. That fog has caught up with us again. Something about this fog is stalking us, and it's not good. That night, we don't roll unnatural dice for camp, but it is a 5. Everybody marks XP on this move, which is 3 out of 8 and 5 out of 10 for next level. And everybody marks XP, and then we roll to see. I think there's a threat. We roll to stay sharp. I need to double check that. A danger manifests. You'd better stay sharp. Stay sharp. When you are on watch and something approaches, roll plus wisdom. Unnatural dice. Wait, who's on watch? 1d4. 1d3. Maud, Christina, Octavia. Maud is on watch. Maud is a +0, and is an NPC, so does not use unnatural dice. Maud rolls a 7 on stay sharp. 7 and 9, you manage to sound the alarm, but no one has time to prepare, so we don't sleep in our armor. That is a general rule of thumb for all of the games that I run. We don't sleep in our armor. A shield you can have next to your bed. Your sword you can have next to your bed, but you can't put on your armor unless you have time to prepare. So what is the danger that manifests? Let's see. The danger is 4. It is a hazard. What kind of hazard is it? 1. A taint, blight, or it's words. It is an unnatural. Now I rolled on that table to see what that is. A 3. A taint, a blight, or a curse. So I have a question for the Mythic GM emulator, and I'm going to call this a 50-50. Is the fog the taint, blight, or curse? 26 is a yes. So the fog starts to become... So this fog comes creeping into the camp, and Maud manages to call out the alarm, and as the fog rolls in. And this is a danger, it's a taint, it's a curse. Is the fog eroding and corrupting everything it touches? I think this answer is a likely yes. Mythic fate chart. What did I roll? A 25 on a likely at chaos factor 5, 65 or less. That is a yes. So we managed to grab our backpacks, our shields, and our swords and pull back. But our armor and our bedrolls start to get eroded. They get damaged by this fog that's rolling in. And we managed to get back and away from it. And kind of like, Octavia looks to Christina and Maud and says, well, what do we do? The fog is going to keep rolling towards us. Do we just keep avoiding it? And Christina will say, I don't have any ideas. And Maud will shrug. Maud will shrug and say, well, I mean, I'd say throw the fire at it and see what happens, but we don't have a fire. Does the fog eventually pass, or does it settle in? This is going to be a 50-50. 73. It settles in. It does not pass. So it settles in, and we can kind of like sit down at the edge of the fog once it stops moving, and we can wait it out. Okay, so we can wait out this fog. Is the fog still there in the morning? I'm going to say it is unlikely the fog is still there in the morning, because the morning sun comes in and kind of like evaporates it. A 32, and unlikely at cast rank factor 35 or lower. So yes, the fog is still there in the morning. We're going to have to leave behind a point of adventuring gear, I think. Well, we're going to have to leave behind our bed rations, Our armor is still in there. That's not good. I'm going to assume that we pulled the wagon and the horse out as well. We have to leave it behind. Because we don't want to get corrupted ourselves. Do we? I mean, Christina's not going to want to leave behind. She's a hardy mountain folk. She's not afraid of this fog. So Christina's going to venture into the fog, I think, and collect our stuff. She would have left it behind, but that armor is very valuable. That armor is very important to have because you never know what you're going to encounter between here and Pernrith. So she is going to use Constitution to defy the danger of the acidic fog. If not, she'll wind up taking damage. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Before we take that roll will only apply if we get a natural roll. An unnatural dice. A miss from Tice. The GM makes a move and she rolls experience. She now has 4 of 8 XP. Show signs of an approaching threat. She's going to take D10 acid damage. A 6. So she has 20 HP remaining. She does collect our armor. She does collect our bedrolls. We get our stuff out of the fog. But she comes out and she's got burns on her arms and her legs. And she's gritting her teeth against the pain. But she does get our stuff and loads it into the wagon. And then we can continue. She is the scout. Unnatural dice. A strong hit from Wyvern King. That's particularly a strong hit. Not just a strong hit. We're going to get the drop on whatever lies ahead, and we're going to determine a shortcut, because this fog is starting to really... I want to know what this fog is. Where's this fog coming from? That's the strong hit from Wyvern King, and then we're going to pull unnatural dice for navigation. Strong hit. Strong hit from Sassaka. Right? Is that what I rolled? Yes, a strong hit from Sassaka. We are 1 day away from reaching Pernith, as you can see, if you can see on the map here. 1 day! 1 day from Pernith! We totally stocked way too much food. But that night, we are going to manage provisions and get a disadvantage from Dio. So this is +1, an 8, or a 6. It's going to be the 6. Mark XP, and the GM makes a move. Christina, you are marking XP. You are at 5 of 8. That was... I hit 6. I want 5. There we go. 5 of 8. GM makes a move. What move does GM make? Offer an opportunity with or without a cost. Find some berries on a bush that may be able to replenish our food, but Octavia will caution against it, and Christina will accept that caution because we have plenty of food, and why would we risk eating wild berries? So from there, we roll 2d6 to see what happens that night. A 5, everybody marks XP, and a danger manifests. A 6 out of 8. And 6 out of 10 XP, respectively, for Christina and Octavia. And a danger manifests. Let's find out what the danger is from Perilous Wilds. We roll D12. 4. It is a hazard. What kind of hazard is it? 3. It is a natural hazard. What kind of natural hazard is it? 6. A pitfall, a sinkhole, or a chasm. Oh no, a sinkhole opens up underneath the campsite. That's no good. It doesn't matter whose watch that's on. Nobody is ready for a sinkhole to just open up underneath you. That's just how sinkholes work. And so, Christina's dexterity check to catch the edge of the sinkhole. Disadvantage from Dio. Christina, don't lose it now. 1, 2. Oh, Christina gets a 7 to 8. Christina catches the edge, but her gear falls into the pit with all the rubble. So we have Christina's hanging onto the edge of the pit. Christina's gear and stuff fell into the pit. Unnatural dice for Christina is a natural roll from Gremory. A natural roll from Gremory. I have +1 dexterity. 9, 10. Christina hears Octavia hears the collapsing of the sinkhole and the shouting from Christina, and she rolls out of the bed. She grabs her stuff up and manages to get away from the sinkhole. And what about Maud? Maud just gets a straight 2d6 roll. Maud rolls a 10. So Christina and Maud, because of the shouting from Octavia and Maud, because of the shouting from Christina, managed to roll away from the sinkhole opening up in the middle of the camp during Christina's watch. And I will head over and help Christina up out of the pit. We have a problem, though, and that is the sinkhole. Is the sinkhole shallow? Is the sinkhole shallow? Let's ask Mythic GM Emulator. This is a 50-50. 18, yes. Is that an extreme yes? I don't think it is. 50-50, no. 10 or less on a 50-50 at Chaos Rank 5. So it is a shallow sinkhole, which means that we can collect Christina's stuff just fine. And then the next day we scout ahead with disadvantage from Tice. Disadvantage from Tice means we roll twice and take the lower of the two rolls. A 5 plus 1 is 6. We mark XP for Christina. Christina now has 7 of 8 experience points to level 2. And she gets GM move. Use up their resources. We're going to say that in the sinkhole from the night before, some of the dirt got into some of the rations, and so we had to throw some of the rations away. We're going to lose 1d4 rations. Of course I roll a 4. Bleh. Okay, and now we navigate. We're hoping to reach Pernith. Advantage from Dio. Advantage from Dio gives us roll twice and take the better of the two. This is at +1. Oh, no. Oh, whew. 7. So on a 7 plus for navigation, the GM chooses one from the list below. There are 3 options, so we're going to roll 1d3. The third option, you encounter a danger. Whether or not you're surprised depends on whether or not the scout has the drop on it. The scout does not have the drop on whatever this danger is. So we're going to go back to Perilous Wilds and roll up another danger. What kind of danger is it? On a d12, 1. It is an unnatural entity. This is not good. A 5 gives us an undead. What kind of undead is it? A 6. A 5 to 8 is a ghost or a specter. Ability. What is special about this ghost? What can it do? 10. Immunity to an element. What element? Whoops, that's the wrong. There we go. Immunity to death. That makes sense. It is a ghost. Ability, activity. What is this ghost doing? 5. Activity. 5. It is eating and resting. Okay. Its alignment is neutral. Was it alignment? Yeah, and its disposition is hostile. Okay, so we find this ghost, and I feel like we find the ghost. Is it the ghost of the adventurer whose body we discovered before? 50-50. 32. Yes, it is. So we recognize this ghost, and this ghost is pretending to make camp. Like, you know how ghosts will go through and they'll replay parts of their life, and they're kind of like stuck on a loop going through it? We'll say that we encounter this ghost, and this ghost is clearly the adventurer that we had encountered before, and it's playing out a loop of having made camp, and so it is eating and resting, and Christina will hold out a hand for everybody to stop. Actually, no, Octavia holds out the hand for everybody to stop, because Octavia's the one in the lead here. And Octavia will decide that the best plan of action here is to try and sneak past this ghost, which will be a defy danger based on dexterity. She doesn't want to disturb the ghost if she can avoid it, because it occasionally like flickers into like an angry armed scream for just a split second, and then it goes back to eating. So we know that this ghost is going to be hostile if it encounters us, or we suspect this ghost is going to be hostile if it encounters us. So we're going to try and sneak past using dexterity, and that'll call for unnatural dice. Disadvantage from Tice. Disadvantage from Tice means we roll twice and take the lower of the 2 rolls. I have +1 dexterity, so that's an 8 or a 6. Oh no, the GM makes a move. Show signs of an approaching threat. No, we've already done that. Offer an opportunity with or without a cost. Why am I rolling? I should be going with my gut here. We fail to sneak past the ghost attacks us. That's what happens. Oh, I was marking XP for Christina. Christina's now at 7 of 10. So trying to sneak past this ghost, it looks up as we're trying to go from tree to tree to tree around this ghost campsite, and it flickers in and it howls and it draws its sword and it rushes at us screaming, monsters, monsters. And Octavia's like, no, 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 not a monster, not a monster. And that's going to be a hack and slash. I don't think I have anything that can hurt a ghost. I know it's immune to death. I don't have any fire. I don't have... do I have iron? I have no idea. I might not be able to hurt a ghost. Actually, that's a good question. Is the ancient sword that Christina has able to hurt ghosts? Like, is it made of an ancient material from a time before recorded history? A 44. I think this is unlikely. So a 44 gives us on the unlikely. A 35 would have been a yes. So 44, no, Christina's sword cannot hurt. A 44, however, is doubles, and a 4, of which this is a double, is underneath our chaos rating of 5 currently. This is a special rule for Mythic GM Emulator. There is a chaos rating that goes up if the characters are out of control over the course of a scene, or it goes down if the characters are in control of the course of the scene, and it influences the likelihood of a yes on every roll. And also, the higher the chaos rating, the more likely you are to get random events interjected. So let's find out what this random event is going to be. There are different kinds of random events. Event focus. The event focus is going to be... a 27 is an NPC action. Which NPC? We have... I'm going to flip over to lists here, and you can see we have a list of characters. We have Christina Lind, Maud Gorst, Philip Bost, the mayor, Gregory Bost, the mayor's son, and the cult are all options here. So I'm going to roll 1d10, and we're going to find out which NPC. A 3. 1, 2. Mode does something. What does mode do? D100, D100. 47 and 98. Actions. 47, guide. 98, trust. Maud, guide, trust. I feel like Maud tries to stop the ghost, like standing between Christina as the ghost is charging, and tries to gain this ghost's trust. This will be Maud. This suits Maud. Maud is like a spy, an infiltrator. He would have charisma. He would rely on that charisma. He'd try and actually say, no, not a monster, just adventurers like you. We're like you, as he throws his hands up. And Maud gets a 5. That does not work. So Maud is going to be the one to take this hit as the ghost comes charging in. Maud does not have very many hit points. This ghost does 1d10 damage. Maud goes down. We will find out if Maud is dead or not in a minute. I think that we don't have a way to hurt this ghost. We need to run from this ghost. So it is time to grab Maud's body and hightail it out of here. That is going to be a defy danger based on strength. Christina's doing this. And so Christina gets +2 to strength. Unnatural dice is a miss from Tice. Oh no. What does this ghost do? This ghost unleashes a howl, a scream, a psychic terror that emanates from this ghost and seeps into my brain. And do I fear this ghost? Do I panic and leave Maud's body behind? That's going to be an unnatural dice. This is going to be based on charisma. So +2 is going to be a defy danger. A weak hit from Martkos. I can either get the body or run for it. And I'm going to choose to get the body because I'm not going to abandon Maud. So I'm going to get the body as the psychic screaming is going on, and then Christina is going to help. I don't know what Christina is going to do other than just try and carry Maud. Gonna help carry Maud. Isn't there a help other. Aid or interfere. When you help or hinder someone you have a bond with, roll plus bond with them. So we have she has a bond with me. We don't know what it is yet. Oh, yes, we do. This is where the bond matters. We had decided before the stream that Christina and Octavia would have a bond. And that bond is from Christina to Octavia. From Octavia to Christina, let's check this. We'll put bond. I rescued Christina from the cult. She has been supportive and useful ever since. And then Christina's bond to Octavia is going to be, she rescued me from the cult. I owe her my life. Christina is going to roll unnatural dice. Advantage from Dio. Slowly running out of good dice. I try and not pay attention to what the actual unnatural dice on the list are. That way I'm surprised. So this is unnatural dice. 1, 2, 5s either way. So the GM makes a move. Separate them. So Christina goes to grab Maud's body and help Octavia lug it out of harm's way when the ghost turns and slashes at Christina, and Christina ducks out of the way and pulls out her sword just instinctively, even though it's not really going to help, and kind of slashes at the ghost and gets its attention and runs off. And the ghost chases Christina. So that gets Octavia and Maud out of danger, but Christina still needs to defy the danger of getting lost in these woods. She's got to try and stay. She's got to lose the ghost, and she's got to stay in range of Octavia so they can find each other again, because that's not good if they get separated. So I'm going to call this a defy danger based on wisdom, as she tries to navigate through the woods and keep awareness of where Octavia is. That is unnatural dice. That is disadvantage from Tice. Disadvantage from Tice means we roll twice and take the lowest roll. 6 plus 1 wisdom is 7. Fuck yes. Okay, so Octavia takes some damage. Not Octavia. Christina takes 5 damage that ignores her armor, leaving her at 15 out of 26. No, we've rested since she took that damage, so 21 out of 26. But she manages to lose the ghost and reunite with Octavia and carry Maud's body. I forget whether this was the navigation roll. I think this was the navigation roll, which means that we have reached Pernith with Maud's unconscious body on the wagon, and Christina and Octavia leading the path. And that, I think, is a perfect place to call this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to help us with the algorithm by hitting like, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know what you think. Hit the notification bell so that you can get notified every time we upload an episode. If you're watching this on twitch.tv/evilsqueegee, where we record live every Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. EST, don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be right back.